morning, guys. You guys are all sleeping right now. We're in the gym. I'm with Coach Mike Rudder. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm very happy to do this. Thanks so much for doing it with me.
Thanks for
but one thing I wanted to talk about with Coach Mike Rudder is, first of all, we're at San Jose City College right now. These are where the women are at, but he's coaching the women's team right now. Where else have you been coaching lately? Coach Notre Dame, assistant coach for the women's team and with the men's team.
I had women's coach for a few years.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Notre Dame, yeah.
Very cool.
San Jose High.
Yeah, why don't we tell them a little about yourself, first coach, so they're thinking, who the heck is this guy here? Last year was at Sac State, helped him win the Far West Championship back in 76.
77?
77, okay. Young.
Yeah.
Look at us, still looks like a
long time ago.
young stud. The thing we really wanted to accomplish was, I get the question all the time from my cousins, from my nephews, what should I do? How do I play in college, etc. And one thing I want to talk about was, we talk behind the scenes about all these ways that people can bring value to these kids, and I wanted to give my honest thoughts of, myself playing basketball in college. Coach played, was known as one of the, he won't tell you, but one of the greatest shooters out there. When Deanza coach, and then the school that started with the W in Washington, or was that?
Wenatchee.
What we want to go through was, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do two things. First half, we're just going to give you guys all value that if your son or daughter's playing, exactly our thoughts on the current situation in the Bay, right? All the little things we wish somebody would have told us. I feel like that's invaluable stuff. And then the second half, we're just going to limit it to 3 shooting drills that Coach really feels, over time, he's got decades of experience out there, could be the most efficient, and have Coach Rudder go through it. But first, I want to flow through some topics that I feel is very important. So all the theme of this is, what do you feel, Coach, a San Jose kid who's serious about playing ball in college, how does he or she prepare himself for this goal? And number 2 segue I had was, summer is everything. That's what I say once. What do you think about that, Coach?
No, the game, you develop your game in the summertime. Once you learn the love for the game, you start playing in leagues, you start dribbling the ball, your dad gets the basket for you at the house, and you start shooting baskets. It becomes almost like a disease, basketball. You just want to play it all the time. You can't get enough of it.
Right, and for those parents who have no idea what we're talking about, summer is actually the time that's really out of season. But the way these kids are growing, and so rapidly growing through high school, through middle school, one summer can really change everything and have them be active. So here's what I do in one sentence of this whole episode is I go, okay, but is it 5-on-5 organized with a whistle? And they go, yeah, I'm playing outside with the guys and I do this. Okay, is it 5-on-5 organized with a whistle? Wherever you can find that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, that is the best thing for you, because I don't know, I just feel that it's just one of those things of just getting mileage. How much hardwood mileage do you have under your belt? And the kids that have had that more obviously going to have experience versus playing one-on-one. Would you agree? Like 2-on-1, stuff like that.
Well, I think when you're starting, I know when we grew up, obviously a different era, but once we found that we had love for the game, we'd go to every park, every open gym, any place we could find a game, we'd play.
Right.
And develop and work on our game.
Right.
Nowadays it's a little bit different. It's harder to do that. There aren't too many gyms open. Places you can go, there are the YMCA, a few places, but then some of the younger kids are getting pushed around by the older guys who come in.
Right.
So it's really there's not a whole lot of places.
To a point where it's dangerous too, Coach. Like I broke my nose twice. Once right before, and when I was playing Evergreen outside on the blue top. And looking back, it was just some 45-year-old guy who's smoking cigarettes in between games, reaches in and his head connects to my nose. But here I was, taking basketball seriously. So you kind of have to be smart around who you play with, right? I had this on my list, Coach, but one thing I talked about was, and we'll get to it, play with your 5, bring your 5, and what that means. So AAU, for the mom who has no idea, Coach, what is AAU? It's essentially organization you can find locally, right?
Yeah, it's AAU. There's programs all over the place that you can bring your kid in. Yeah, different age groups, different levels. There's just so many of them out there. It's hard for a parent where you have a kid who's just learning how to play. It's really difficult, to find out which is the best one for you and your son.
Yep.
But the thing is, you just have to kind of do some research and
exactly.
Maybe watch a practice, maybe meet the coach.
And that's one thing I was talking about, coaches. Like, if he or she didn't make the freshman team or didn't make the middle school team, the best thing they can do is go online, look at NJB, look at AAU, sign up the day after cuts were already made. There's going to be some type of NJB or AAU thing coming up, right? And that's the best way to say, well, I'm definitely going to make it next year, no doubt. Or you can sulk. You can moan. You can say the coach is racist. You're right. Like some of us would find excuses. That would be my greatest advice if I'm speaking to that, woman or daughter. So next one I got is know your role, coach. Especially with these kids, I think my high school coach would always say, the best advice you gave it to me. You summed it up. Now that I started coaching, is like, Roman, rebounds equals minutes. Rebounds equals minutes. You think about that, but the problem is, we watch the NBA, they're all watching Dirk and Steph out there, and they all want to shoot the three, they all want to do this and that, but they need to realize, okay, is there any lack of three-point shooters on my team right now? Yeah. No, pretty much everybody's a point guard or guard. So maybe I should play the 4, play the 5, if I want to just get on the floor, right? Yeah. Would you agree with that?
No question about it. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of talent to be a good rebounder. It just takes effort.
Absolutely.
And heart and desire to be out there and want to grab, go after the basketball.
Which one of the few things that we can actually control on that court, right?
Exactly.
When there's not many of them.
Playing defense and rebounding the basketball will equal minutes for you. No question about it at any level. Everybody wants to shoot. Everybody wants to be Steph Curry. Everybody wants to handle the ball. Not everybody can be. Right. Very few will be, frankly. But I think that you have to learn to develop your game and see where you fit in. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're a 2 guard, maybe you're a 3 guard.
Right. Even if you have to differentiate yourself.
You know what? Yeah. I mean, the thing is whatever role the coach puts you in is the role that you play. You follow your coach's lead. There's too many people out there that say, no, my son is, he's a 2. He's 6'7", he's a 2, and he's 14 years old. No, he's not. He's 6'7". He's 14 years old, and he should be learning the inside parts of the game and the fundamentals are in the key before he moves outside. And I know people, it's very difficult for them. Oh, my son's going to be a D1 prospect. Very few kids in this valley, if you look back, are D1 prospects and go D1. Very few. That's
a perfect perfect segue. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but one thing I said that may be controversial to some is looking back, I go 50% of the pie is how extremely talented you are. You can fill up that 50%, but any coaches out there agree with me is as far as after the other 50%, what do you know in this world? It's not what you know, it's who you know, it's networking, it's trying to be aware, going to the basketball camps, meeting the same people. And what I realized is when coach said go out to West Valley College or go out to Santa Cruz at that time to play with those guys, when I finally did play in college, what do you know? All those same faces in different areas eventually met up with you and crossed paths with you. So, what advice would you give to some parents to make sure they cover the networking aspect? Just be where they are.
Yeah, I'm not the networking thing. I'm not quite as big on as I am. It's just the conditioning, the training.
He's being humble. He knows everyone in the Bay.
And the development. Each kid.
True.
After working with some of these kids and starting to do this little tutoring school, you find out that, maybe not all the kids want to play basketball. Maybe they're just out here playing because they like the game right now. Mm-hmm. Once you get to a certain level, then you start going to open gyms and you start going up to De Anza when they have an open gym, or to Santa Cruz an open gym, and then these other coaches start seeing you, and then you start networking, and different coaches talk to different coaches, and different AAU coaches talk to. Before you know it, you're playing maybe a lower level AAU team, and before you know it, the following summer, after hard work and all the discipline the summer takes.
I agree. Larry Bird wasn't a talker. You play enough, and they're going to talk about you, right?
Yep.
And then obviously the academics part that you got to stay on top of them about, and most parents don't have an issue with that. But it's a shame to see talent get wasted because of things like that. And morning, Amin, Avantika, Sherry, Eric, Carlos. Good to see you guys join us. I'm with Mike Rudder. If you're just joining us, probably he won't admit it, one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen. Will still shoot with us now to this day. And second half, we're gonna give probably what we feel is our 3 top shooting drills before we're at San Jose City College for the girls get in here and start laughing at us. But let's keep moving on. I put down JC Showcase versus 4-year freshman, and obviously I think it's way harder work. Would you agree and please feel free to disagree, to go to a JC for 2 years, stand out, and then get recruited to play for another 2 years? And when you come in, I guess the first 4 years as a solid freshman, you have a much bigger workload ahead of you. But for the advice of the parents, if you had to pick one scenario, what would you say is ideal? Obviously, to get recruited as a freshman, right?
Yeah. It would be. But long story short, if you have to be realistic. If your child isn't being, recruited in the top part of whatever school that they want to go to, if you're not 1 or 2, maybe that's not the best place for you.
Right.
If you go to a JC, you're going to JC for a reason. You're going to polish up your game, maybe polish up your academics. There's something that needs to be polished if you're not going to a 4-year institution. So
that's an option then.
That's an option, and that's a great option. So, and plus, and a lot of parents, they don't, the fact this is going to a JC isn't that expensive.
First year's JC's free now. Cali, new law.
So yeah, exactly. So the thing is that you have an opportunity. If maybe you want to go to, I'm just going to throw a school out here. I don't know, like maybe USC, but you're only getting recruited to a smaller school. But that's maybe you don't want to go to that school. So you go to a JC. You work and on your game every summer. You work and get better, and and get your academics in place, and just get your game polished. If you're a point guard, working on your ball handling skills and shooting, working on being a good team leader, being able to distribute the basketball to other players.
Right.
If you're a 2 guard, getting yourself in position to spot up and hit a shot, to move without the basketball, to get the ball inside to post players.
And Coach, as I was saying, for those who have no idea, JC Showcase is essentially, now JC Showcase, you educate me on this, I mean, it's not like it's required, you can have eyes on you before, but it's just an opportunity for everyone to kind of stand out, similar to before the NFL draft there'll be the combine.
Well, yeah, like, right? For example, the JC Showcase is coming up, and so the kids are invited to that, or the kids that have the statistics to play in that. Not everybody
gets invited.
Yeah, so you got the top flight kids, because when you go to that showcase, you're going to have all D1, D2, some D3 coaches. You're going to have a lot of coaches there. When I was up at Notre Dame, we'd go to that thing every single year, watch players.
Right.
So, matter of fact, we brought a few of those guys in.
Perfect segue to that. So here's my thoughts. If you're really determined, and parents, you should tell your kids this, let's say JC Showcase doesn't work out, you were in JC, I think it just comes down to persistence and want, maybe some networking to get through the door, but my next topic was walking on.
Yeah.
If you believe in yourself and you believe in your game, some people don't even know, you have more than the opportunity to find the coach. I say, listen, my name's so-and-so. He might only allow 3 walk-ons, 2 walk-ons, but saying that I just want an opportunity, I just want a shot, let me try to walk on, and at least you'll get a taste if you're unrealistic.
Yeah. No. Well,
or what can end up happening is you could end up taking somebody's scholarship, right? Realistic, would you agree?
Yeah, within a year or so, yeah, you could,
right.
No question about it. But yeah, I mean, you talk to a coach, and the coach says, hey, listen, we don't have enough money. We really like you. We want to bring you in the program, but
right.
First year we'd have to be a walk-on. Some people look at that, well, maybe he's not that interested in me after all. But
right.
As some of us know, and what we've seen, I mean, there's a lot of kids that have walked on and become great players. So it's just a matter of the kid's mental toughness, your mental toughness, be able to take that chance,
right,
and not be afraid of failure, and go out and play the best and be the best every single day.
What I love about that is open gym. You come in and you just lock up the scholarship starting point guard. You're a point guard. You drop 15, 20 points on them. The gym is quiet. All the other players are watching. The beautiful thing about that is one of those things, it's like, it's already spoken that you've kind of earned some respect, right?
Exactly.
And And some people who came all the way, whatever, from Washington, Oregon on a full scholarship, they fear that. But hey, it's one of those kind of survival of the fittest fair things with walk-ons that, you make each other better, right? That does happen.
Exactly.
I cut you off, Coach.
No,
said.
no, that's absolutely correct. No. But I think that, again, the work ethic, it goes all the way back to the work ethic and how hard are you willing to sweat in the gym by yourself versus with the big lights on.
Yep.
Everybody wants to play with the big lights on, everybody watching, but it's the ones that work the hardest on their own in the gym that are going to become those players.
Right. Coach, this is my next question for you. A little tough. I was going to say was public versus private, and whether having their kid be on a team that's the best with the other four, or going to a team that maybe not as good, but he's going to drop 28, but may have a crappier record. What's more important if he's looking at the future with college, for him to stand out or be in the later rounds of CCS and with a better team? What would you? There's no right answer to that, but
but I think playing time. I mean, you have to be on the floor.
Yep.
And wherever it goes, be on the floor.
Yep. Because if you're on the bench, but you're on a great team.
Well, again, it's
you're invisible.
Variables. I mean, if you're a scorer or a point guard, and the top team has scorers and point guards, then maybe you want to go someplace where you can get your minutes as a scorer and point guard and play your game. Maybe if you're a 4 or 5, maybe going on to the better team might be better for you because you're going to get a better opportunity to play your role, to be able to be that 4 or 5, set good screens, get your rebounds, fill the lanes, play minutes, have coaches see you.
I couldn't agree more. With that said, I kind of mentioned play with your 5, bring your 5, and all I meant with that, it's probably the most elite around here, anybody would agree, would be, people getting invited to those summers at West Valley JC. That's when, I remember Coach Randall says, you really want to test the waters of whether you can play or not? Go there. Yeah. I walk in and Brooke Lopez, Robin Lopez, Stanford's brings their own 5, San Jose State brings their own 5, JC's bring their own 5, and you played a 5 to 6. But I think the key thing to that, why I'm saying this to those kids, is stick with the group. Let's say you played with last year in 7th grade through this summer, and in 8th grade, get a hold of all of them. And when people ask, hey, do you need one? Say, no, we got our own 5. Why? Because obviously it's a game of chemistry. It's a game of pass, right?
It is a game of chemistry.
And the longer you can stick with that group, the bigger advantage you're going to have over other teams who are still figuring, each other out. So I wanted to spit that out, get that out for the kids too. I thought that was valuable. Last thing I wrote down was we're going to transition to the shooting drills now. Play with your 5, bring your 5, and repetition is the mother of all skill. We make it so complex. People write books on it. People say this, but the older I get, the more I learn that, it could be a video game, it could be whatever. But when it comes to the mechanics of shooting, like Coach will tell you, you can learn every single angle of it. But guess what? The best thing you can do is just shoot, right?
Yeah, you have to get in the gym and shoot.
Work ethic. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no.
And Coach Rudder will agree with that one.
Right.
But Coach,
before
we get out there, Coach, so we'll talk about it at the end too. Coach, we can plug them on. Besides coaching, one thing Coach does and I think is extremely valuable for you guys, I'm going to put it up in some groups as well as any of those who are interested in, maybe we could tell them a little bit about that. He does one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and in college I would also have him for individual workouts between classes. And I feel like if your kid is serious, that is also a very unique thing you should try out, with Coach and look him up as well to kind of get an idea and get ready and get that edge versus the other high school kids. Tell me a little bit about it, the one-on-one coaching we got going.
Well, we do individual training. We work on technique, balance, and footwork. Just proper technique, elbow underneath the ball, good follow through, framing every single shot.
I saw some pictures last night. What was that? Is that through your kids? Tell me about them.
Yeah, we had a couple of the college girls come down, and then we had a couple standouts from Westmont High School come out, and we did some shooting drills. And the girls are separate, but we do a drill called build-up drill. And what you do is you make as many shots as you can from one spot until you miss 2 in a row. You can miss 1, but you can't miss 2. And one of our girls last night hit 113 shots going to all 5 spots all the way around. So tremendous job. And Kate she's an all-league performer for us. We're getting ready to go to the playoffs. We're really excited to see where she ends up next year. Hopefully we get her to a nice 4-year.
So the third of we're not going to give you the whole steak. We're going to give you a little sizzle. Is probably the most simplest, non-complicated thing that really did it for me was, I'm not sure why we called it not two-ball coach, just shoot and follow. And I'm going to go through that. We'll go through, and then we'll go through another two, and Coach will kind of explain it, and then we're going to call it a day for you guys. And I'll throw up Coach Mike Rudder's information, but now we're going to transition to that court, and I'll maybe we'll start the two-ball with him. And the interesting thing about two-ball, if you want to touch on that before we get on there, Coach, is basically I'm shooting, following my own shot, and in between this, Coach Rudder is setting up, and I'm grabbing my own rebound, and I'm passing it to him. But I think the beautiful thing about this that doesn't meet the eye is don't watch Steph Curry when he has the ball. Watch what he does when he doesn't have the ball, and it teaches you how to, I don't know, Coach, you want to comment on that? Time your body, time your balance with two ball. What do you think is significant? Shoot and follow.
Well, I just think that, one of the key things that is,
when we get out there, keep talking, Coach,
is overlooked with
yeah, you're gonna have to yell too
with basketball is moving without the ball, getting yourself in position, getting your footwork, being ready to shoot the ball before you have the ball.
Let's see if they can see it there.
The guys that I train that are watching this right now, they know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's very important to have yourself in position to shoot the ball before you catch the ball. Otherwise, you're off balance, you're hopping, you're doing all sorts of things that they're throwing off your technique, style.
I think we got this one in, Coach. Let me see if this is a bit better angle for them. This is probably a better thing. Why don't we go on? This is probably closer. Awesome. So first one here, guys, shoot and follow. Hopefully if you can hear us. If not, forgive us. And let's see if we can see the hoop as well. So, Coach, what are we doing here?
So, this is one ball shooting, follow the shot. So what we're going to do is, Roman's going to spot the shot, he's going to shoot a shot. We're not going to warm up here, it's going to be pretty raw.
And we're going to set a goal like we can say together, let's make 5, right? But what ends up happening is sometimes you end up shooting like 15 shots. Right.
Well, that's what's great about this drill is that we do with our kids, we have to make 25 as a group. So you can shoot as many as 50, you can shoot 27. You never know, it depends how well you're shooting. But this is a nice drill to get warmed up. We'll do kind of inside the key area, and so you get a little feel for what we're doing.
Right, there we go. That's fun. It's a little fun. So I'll keep moving the entire time. Make sure I'm not standing still.
Always moving.
And 50 to 7 stuff. So I'm moving on to the shooting. He's following. There's one. We got one. This is what Roman shoots 50%. 2. Trying to coach in the shooting pocket. 3. Look at that. Still got it.
Oh, all right.
Go 4.
I just saw a ball. Is it what?
Don't mind us ladies, we're live right there at 5.
Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet.
So that's one, and one variation on the shoot and follow. Sorry, talk right there. Is what else, Coach? We could do. Pump fake, one dribble pull up. I saw one dribble pull up, right?
Well, we have another drill we can do.
Sure.
It's called 5 points in the Roman's going to do this one.
Okay, come on.
So what you're going to do, you're going to spot up. You're shoot your regular shot, 15 feet. Okay? Then we'll throw it back to you.
I have a jersey and the
Right. Here we go.
So shoot.
Yeah. I thought you were in here, so I brought it in here.
Power to the right, pull up.
Yeah, go ahead and shoot the regular shot right now. Okay. Boom. There's one. Okay. Make that shot.
Yeah, it's like a dribble. Yeah, they weren't in our locker.
Good, good, good. Good. Now go to the right. And then now go to the left. Good. Okay, go to the next spot.
left, good ball fakes. Knees bent, nice and low. Good. Other elbow.
Sorry for the earnestness, guys. Roman, Coach Mike Rudder. We love you guys. I'm out of shape.
Thanks, you guys.
So the
Girls
Master City ladies getting ready. Oh, sorry. My bad. We'd have to.